Here in the States, you know, we have a lot of things that can get in our way and be distractions in finding out about other people in your family. We've got great TV, we got video games, we got computers, we got everything, you know. But it was a cool time for me when I was in Ghana because of the energy shortage and the water shortage. Running water was not something that we had on a regular basis, and we didn't have lighting all day. So it meant that we had to sit down and we had to actually talk with one another, which was a wonderful thing. You know, Dad shares stories about he and his brothers and how he and his brothers were considered the Musketeers, and how if you mess with one, you mess with them all. It was just awesome. But the one story that really kind of hits home or really stuck in my mind from that time on was the story of how when my father had finished, I guess what we would call high school, he had the opportunity before he went overseas to study at McGill University. He had an opportunity to teach at the young girls' school, I guess, somewhere close to where he was. And you have to forgive me for not remembering the names and so on. But the story was that, you know, he was 17, 18, somewhere around there, and he had gotten an opportunity to teach for some young girls who were basically between the ages of like 11 and 14 or 15. So he wasn't much older than these young ladies. And he was telling me how as he was riding his bike up to the campus, he could see heads popping out of all the windows of the school, and he could hear the women talking about, oh, there's a man coming, there's a man coming, and the giggling and all of that sort of stuff. Well, what makes that story even much more entertaining is the next day we went to visit one of my dad's teaching associates, or people that he grew up with. And the wife of this woman happened to be one of the girls that was being taught at this school. And I remember when we got out of the car, this woman looked at my dad, and you have to understand, the woman's in her 60s, 65 or so, and she starts giggling like a little girl. And my father was kind of, didn't know how to take that. And she says, "You don't remember me, do you, Tony Amos?" And he kind of said, "No, I really don't." And then she mentioned where she recognized him from, or remembered him from, and we all got a kick out of it because, like I said, she was one of the girls that my father had taught, and it was one of those girls that saw my dad, and you know, being young girls, they were and all of that as he was coming into school to teach at an all-girls school. So I thought that was funny. I fully enjoyed hearing that story, and then finally kind of again being thrust right back into the time period of when it happened. One of the other things that I had the opportunity to experience when I came to Ghana back in 1998 and was hanging with my dad was the sheer excitement of my dad working on his own home. You know, I think that was probably the first time that my father had told me that his desire was at some point to come back and live permanently in Ghana, and that he was building a house to make that happen, and he wanted me and my brothers to come over and spend time with him and share in his family tree and get to know where he came from and all of that. And I got a chance to see the foundation of the house in Accra, and I saw it from the ground up. I saw the foundation, I saw the lot, and I saw just how it was beginning. And I could also see that my dad was just really proud to show me, his son, this feat that he was getting ready to do. And as time went along, you know, he would share some photos here and there of what he was doing and of the staircase that he built in this house. And every time I talked to him about it, you could just hear it in his voice that he was just really excited. And my father was not somebody that you could tell, at least I couldn't tell, when he got really excited about stuff, except for these type of situations. It wasn't a normal thing for my dad, but it was really cool because I felt like we were bonding. I felt like we were getting to be closer to one another. So I really appreciated that. When I heard that my father had passed away, I was pretty much shocked. Didn't know really how to take it, didn't really didn't know what I was supposed to feel, because really he was the first person close to me that had ever passed away. I remember telling Paul how I was not really sure how I felt, and I was thinking about where my dad and my relationship was. And when I realized that we were on good terms and that he knew that I loved him and I knew that he loved me, I was able to start the grieving process and to really understand just what this whole thing meant. I feel at points in my life now that I've been robbed of getting to know my dad the way that I would have liked to have known him. However, I feel that I'm very blessed because I've had an opportunity to see how Dad has affected so many people, and how his generosity and his heart for wanting the family to come together, and him wanting to do something for Ghana and for the people of Ghana, and just seeing just how his passion was has really humbled me, and I'm excited about the future and where we're going. And I know that my brothers and his grandson Amani are definitely going to be the beneficiary of all of what my father set up and what he had planned to do. So I want to play a little bit for you of my dad and my Uncle Augustine and my Uncle JB just sitting around back in 1998, just shooting the breeze, reminiscing, and so on, just so that you can hear their voices, just so that we can just commune with them. Uncle John, I need you to say hi to my brothers and give them a little background as to who you are and where you fit into this Amos clan of the Amos Musketeers.
The three Musketeers.
The first of the three Musketeers.
There you go.
Number one.
And the leader, the one in charge, right?
Yeah.
Only God has kept us like that. Fortunately for us, we have been growing in health. Because we are not the type of people who just
they are outlawed brothers.
They are normally sober type. I'm the chief, and the two of them are copied from me.
Well, the thing is, my father died in 1940 when I was very young, and so were you. And he took both of us and molded us, showed us how to make it in this education world. I became a teacher, I became an engineer, all because of his influence.
Unfortunately, because of my two brothers, I did not marry in time.
Yes.
I married at the age of 31. Then by that time, the middle one, Augustine, had finished his course. And then it was the turn of Anthony. Anthony, fortunately for us, as the saying goes, God cares for the tailor's animal.
When I was going through employment, and then my brother came and said, no, working in the mines is not good. So I've discussed everything with Father Kelly, and that you must come to college. You see, qualification is better. He sat me down, and point by point, before I got up, I was convinced I must stop. I must stop taking on this job in the mines. So I went and told my master that I want to stop. Oh, why do you want to stop? My brother has come and he says I must go to college. Who doesn't want money? Oh, you're a small boy. I said, no. You see, one...